Hey everyone, welcome to my new channel, Mikey Lee and the Cemetery Library. I'm Mikey and I'm a huge fan of horror. I really like reading and I've had a podcast before where I reviewed movies with my friends, still doing that on the side, but I also really like reading. And although I'm not the fastest reader, I wanted to try to do something where I talk about books, connect with other people who like books, especially horror, and just have an outlet for that creativity. Now, I was supposed to release this episode on Halloween, but I got in my own head. I didn't know where to start. I've never made a video before, you know? So I figured just do it. I've already taken like 100 takes of me just saying hello, so screw it. I'm just gonna go with it. So I was supposed to release this video on Halloween. There was 2 books that I was gonna cover, maybe novellas. Still getting used to the lingo. I think, yeah, 1 novella and 1 trilogy. But I'm gonna say books because I am trash. So this is technically a Halloween episode, but when you're a creep like me, Halloween's never really over. So what are we reading, you may ask? Well, first we have Cameron Chaney's Autumncrow. Second, we have C.V. Hunt's Halloween Fiend. Did I like him? Did I not like him? Are they worth your time? We'll find out. Okay. So first we're going to talk about Cameron Chaney's Autumncrow. Cameron Chaney is an indie author and he has written this trilogy of short stories that are based on a location called Autumncrow, where it's pretty much like Halloween all the time. Cameron also has a YouTube channel called Library Macabre. It's really cool. I really like watching him. He also signed my book. So bonus points for Cameron. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna be nice. Just kidding. I love this book. Everything that he's done, first of all, let's rewind. I read a lot of indie, I'm gonna say films a lot because that's what I'm used to reviewing and I need to cut it out. I read a lot of indie novels, indie literature, I guess you could say. And it's always a crapshoot. Are they gonna be good? Are they gonna be like, oh, that's a good job, keep doing what you're doing, but in your head you're like, that's terrible grammar. Well, I can tell you with Cameron, he is a phenomenal writer. Everything he does is so clean, and the imagery that he creates and the locations he creates with his writing is just, it's so good. And for someone that is obsessed with the Halloween season and obsessed with fall and spooky ookies, it's perfect. It really is. The stories are a great mixture of, they start off pretty beautiful, is like the only way I can really describe it. They're emotional, they're beautiful, and then he gets into his creepy, his spooky, scary. And what I like about Cameron's style is that he doesn't purposely try to scare you. He's not like on the mission to scare you, in my opinion. He makes these stories that are dark and creepy things happen, and then it does actually scare you. Because not every story in this book is out to scare you. And when I was first reading, I think like the first 2 stories are pretty non-scary, I guess you could say, but it's on purpose. He's not trying to scare you. He's trying to paint a picture of this town and the things that go on in this town. And there are like supernatural beings at play here, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily frightening. He does get into the frightening stuff later, don't worry. But I was just so impressed by the first story in general. Just like, I couldn't think about how to explain it other than it was just beautiful. And then we get into the scary stuff. There were stories in there, and I don't really want to spoil anything because I feel like this is a great platform to promote these authors and get people to go read them themselves. And I think you should definitely do it with this book. And I'm also not a huge fan of anthologies just because I'm like, I mean, I guess I should be because I'm a slow reader, but I mostly want like a nice novel to sink my teeth into. I feel like with short stories, I get really into it and then it ends and I'm like, meh, okay. But that wasn't the case with Cameron's. with Autumncrow, and maybe it's because the whole anthology has a theme based around this location. So maybe the location's a character in itself that I follow throughout the whole book. Side note, the cover, as you can see, I'm a huge cover whore. So like VHS covers like this, things that are unique and just you can tell are made with care by somebody. This cover was made by Cameron Rubik. Sorry if that's not correct. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he also wrote and did the covers for the Kill River series, which I've read the first one and I'm very excited to read the next two, and I'll probably cover it later when it gets summertime. But yeah, so love to see the crosswork between the two Camerons, even though it's probably by coincidence, but you know, two great authors. There's parts in the anthology that there's one specifically about a mannequin that really grossed me out. And the term still sticks in my head, and it has to do with munching or chewing. So if you happen to read that part and you get across what happened, that's still like in my head, because I love reading, and I will be honest, I haven't read much. Everything I have read has just been horror. There's Goosebumps, R.L. Stine. I've read a couple of Stephen King books. So while I have read a healthy amount, I'm not going to be like a super experienced reader like some of my other horror friends. And that is probably due to the fact that I got into reading later in life. When I was a kid, I went to a private school, and all the fun stuff that you wanted to read, like Goosebumps or Harry Potter or whatever kids were reading back then, scary stories to tell in the dark, they would give you a catalog to order for the book fair, and they made you get a marker and X out the fun ones. So I didn't read because I didn't have things that I wanted to read. I don't have anything really against like private school or anything like that, but that kind of censorship is stupid. But I remember one of my uncles, he was in high school when I was in elementary school, and he bought me the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and gave that to me, and I was really into that, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to the horror genre, but I didn't have a way of getting it because I went to private school. I have my mom, when she went on a business trip, she got me Nightmare Hour by R.L. Stine, which is up there, and when I first got it, I was kind of like, cool. But like now that I still have it, and I know that it came from my mom, and now that I'm really into reading and horror, and R.L. Stine's probably one of my favorite authors, it's really special to me. But anyways, back to Cameron, or back to Autumncrow. I don't know what to say because I don't want to ruin anything, and I want you to read it. Just read it, please. Do it for me, even though you just met me. Upcoming work. Cameron is writing a series called Autumncrow High. Autumncrow High. If you follow Cameron, go to his page, check out Library Macabre. You'll see the cover art reveal for Autumncrow High, and I'm very excited to read those because if it's like this, I'm in. There's also a short story at the end of Autumncrow that he's included, and that one's very creepy. I'm trying to see what it was called. There are monsters here. See? It's at the end. It's about the last 20 or so pages. But this collection of stories they're all good. I didn't really feel like there was one that I was bored, that I wanted to hurry up and get over with. I really enjoyed all of them. I definitely look forward to more of Cameron's work, more of Autumncrow, the Autumncrow legacies, whether it's Autumncrow High or whatever comes with these books. Okay, now for book 2. Second book we have is Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt. Take a look at that cover. Another excellent cover. Again, cover horror. It's me. This cover is created by Sam Heimer. And I did look up Sam Heimer's work, and he is an artist that has a lot of this type of art. So if you really like what this looks like, go check him out. Again, Sam Heimer, and check out his other art. He sells prints and stuff, and if you really dig him, go for it. So this book is about a town where they kind of have like a secret, and the secret is that there's this entity that goes around the house, or goes around to each house, and requires a blood sacrifice, like guinea pigs or some small animal, so that if you satisfy its need for a sacrifice, it leaves you alone until the next day. You better have another one, whatever. Obviously something goes wrong, or else there wouldn't be a book about it, and shit gets crazy. With this book, so this is going to be different than Autumncrow because this is actually like a full story. It's not going to be an anthology. I loved this one, first of all. And I promise I'm not going to be like, I love every book I read. These two just really hit it on the head for me. The main character in this book is really funny, and I really like him, and he reminds me of one of my best friends. So I kept thinking about him when I was reading it, and I think it would be a compliment if it was not for the fact that the main character is a little chunky. So I don't want to tell my best friend that, but he's great, and he's very human, and he's relatable, and and I swear this is like the perfect pairing with Autumncrow, because this also outlines a city and it highlights a location, not as Halloween centric or as the season of Halloween. It's different, but it still does an amazing job of painting the scene and showing what's happening in this town, the attitudes in this town, the kind of inhabitants in this town. Also, a weird thing about me is like I'm really into people that work at markets or like shopping, what are they called? Grocery stores. I don't know. Supermarkets. There you go. I don't know why. I think supermarkets and horror just like are cool. But the characters are great, and the monster, the entity is creepy. This one, I split it up between a couple of days, and going to sleep at night, I would, it would still be on my head about what this entity was saying and doing. So really did a great job of being frightening. Okay, there's characters that I have to highlight. The main character, great, amazing, relatable, human, cool. There is the like gossipy, kind of a bitchy friend at the supermarket, and even though she's those things, it's cool to have her be so fleshed out in the story, because we all know someone like that. So to actually have someone in the story that's like that, and to kind of like pull from your personal experience and be like, I know someone just like that. They do a really good job with her. My favorite are introduced later on. There's people that are coming into the town that basically have to they have to spend a amount of time with our main character. There's two of them. A man and a woman, and those two are like, for the woman, I want this to be a movie so I can see her in real life, because I just love them. And I can tell you that you can like see the Christmas stuff around me because it's Christmas and I didn't make this video when I was supposed to make it, sorry. First of all, Autumncrow is great to start the season. This one's great to kind of finish the season and then start getting into the holiday spirit. I'm not going to say why, but there's a little dash of something at the end that I think fits really well. I loved this book. I can't say it enough. I love both of these books. I've only reread one book in my entire life, and it was something I read when I was a teenager, and I wanted to check it out again as an adult. Other than that, I just haven't done it. But I think they're short enough and they're super good, and I'm probably gonna reread them every like August so I can start getting into the Halloween spirit when it comes. So definitely recommend both of these. Autumncrow by Cameron Chaney, Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt. I already discussed what's coming for Cameron's. I'm gonna check out more from this author. Hopefully they're the same size, because I really just love the novella. With that, that's kind of my free form first episode. I don't really have a format or anything to go off of yet. I just wanted to get the first episode out of the way so I could start creating that and getting comfortable. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Let me know, comment, like, whatever. I don't even know if I'm gonna get any views, but we'll see. We'll hope for the best. But with that, that's all that I had today. Hopefully I can start doing more fun stuff and being more creative with the channel. But for now, leave my cemetery. Bye. I'm struggling. I have never reread a book before. Every time I've read a book, that's been it. I have only read one book twice in my life. Wait. I've only read, excuse me. I've only reread a book once in my life. Does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say. I haven't read a book